If you are a working professional in US or an F1 student, chances are that in future you will encounter a situation where you would like to change or grab a new opportunity while you are on H1b visa. In short, you will be looking for a H1b transfer. In this video, I'll share my experience of H1b transfer because I am someone who has transferred the H1b visa not just once but twice. So in this video, I'll share all my experience of H1b transfer. I'll go over to the most frequently asked, or let's say most frequently generated questions in the mind of H1b visa holder. For example, will my current company get to know that I have initiated the H1b visa transfer? When should I join the new company? When should I resign? Also, I will talk about my blunderous mistake that I made while transferring my first H1b visa. Blunderous, I don't know even that is a word, but I use this word because the mistake was so huge, so big, so enormous that even the word blunder is small in front of it. So that's why I use this word blunderous mistake. And I want you guys to do not repeat that mistake that I did. I will discuss about that mistake towards later part of this video. So if you are interested, keep watching. Welcome back. Before we dive deep into this video, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Help me reach to the wider audience so that I can grow this channel. I would also like to mention here that this video is just for the information purpose. This is by no means a legal advice. I'm not an attorney at all. I'm just someone who has transferred the H1b visa twice, and I will share just my experience in this video. So just please make a note. Now coming straight to the point, what is H1b transfer? So in legal terms, there is no such thing called H1b transfer. This word is used purely for convenience. Actual process is same as filing the new H1b visa. You have to go through the same process. The same documents will be required while transferring the H1b visa. For the sake of simplicity, I will use the word H1b transfer, but make sure that there is no such legal term called H1b transfer. What are the documents required for the H1b transfer? So you need all the same documents what you have used while applying for H1b at the first time. So you have to go through LCA, which is the labor certification, and you have to file also I-129. So same set of forms you have to file. The only difference here is, number one, since you have already H1b visa, you don't have to go through the lottery again, which means that you will not be counted against the cap. The second difference is H1b transfer can be initiated at any time of the year. You don't have to wait until the April. If you, let's say, make up your mind to resign the company in January, you can initiate your H1b visa transfer application in January. So these are the two major differences. Let's talk about the fees now. While H1b transfer fees may vary depending upon the company size, some companies which are smaller in size, they might have to pay a little bit smaller fees, but the companies which are larger, they might have to pay a little bit more. So in short, the important point here is that you don't have to care about the H1b transfer fees because that will be paid by your employer, not by you. So don't worry about that. However, although the H1b visa transfer fee will be paid by your employer, but if you have a dependent on H4, like your spouse or maybe children, then you want to make sure you talk to your new employer and ask them who will pay the H4 dependent transfer fees. Many big companies, they pay for H4 as well, but small companies, sometimes they don't pay for H4 dependent transfer fees. It happened to me for my first transfer. So what happened, the company paid only for my H1b transfer, then I had to pay from out of my pocket for my wife. She was on H4 dependent. So make sure you talk to your company. You can basically negotiate this with the company while you are negotiating the salary. I'm planning to make a very nice video on what can you negotiate with the company and what is the right way to negotiate. If you are interested, keep watching my channel, stay tuned. So the first question is, how long is the processing time? The usual processing time for H1b visa transfer is 4 to 5 months, but this keeps on changing as USCIS sometimes is more busy than the other time, so it keeps on changing. But in general, right now the usual processing time is 4 to 5 months. However, you can also expedite your case by premium processing, but the premium processing is also not always available. USCIS keep it doing on and off based on their busy schedule. So at this time the premium processing is on. You can expedite your case, and if you do that, you have to, or your company has to pay $2,500 extra, and then you will get the result within 2 weeks. The next question is, what is RFE? RFE is basically request for further evidence. Many times when you premium process your H1b transfer, you get RFE. It does not mean that you will be denied. It simply means that USCIS wants further evidence. Sometimes the evidence requirement is really very simple. You can, it's just a documental requirement. You can submit the document, but sometimes they require in a detailed explanation why you are fit for this job, how this job aligns with your field of application. In that case, your lawyer has to draft a response and a letter, and then they have to file that letter with the RFE response. So that might take some time. Usually USCIS provide 1 month for the response, but if you feel that you are not confident, or if you feel that you need more time to respond this RFE, you can always request for further time. It can be extended. Right, the third most frequently asked question is, can my current company find out that I am trying to transfer my H1b visa? That is very common question that comes to every H1 visa holder's mind, and the simple answer is no. Your current company will not get to know that you are planning to transfer, or even you have initiated your transfer. The next common question is, can H1b visa transfer request be denied? Yes, it is very much possible that H1b visa transfer request can be denied, because if you remember that H1b visa is tied to your field of application, field of education. If your field of education, if your new job is unrelated to your field of education, it can be denied on that ground. For example, let me give you an example. Let's say if you are working as a software engineer in US, and you have worked for 2 or 3 years on H1b visa as a software engineer, but then you applied for a new job in, let's say, oil industry, just because you have an undergraduate degree in petroleum and oil, and on that basis you got a job in the oil and petro industry, and then you want to transfer your H1 visa, saying that no, your new job will be as a petrochemical engineer. In that case, you might get a denial because your new job is not related to your field of education in US, and so forth. This is just an example, but if your new job is unrelated to your field of education, your H1b visa can be denied. So you make sure you keep that thing in mind. So the next question is, how many times I can transfer my H1b visa? As such, there is no limitation on number of times you can transfer your H1b visa. You can transfer as many times as you want. I myself have transferred my H1b visa twice. So don't worry, as long as you find a nice job, more money, better job, better position, whatever reason is for you to change the job, as long as you find the job, you can always transfer your H1b visa. So there is no limitation on how many times one can transfer H1b visa. The next question is, what will my current company do? As soon as you resign, your current company will revoke the H1b visa, and they have to do that because of the law. But you don't have to do anything. Now let's talk about what are the things that you are required to do after the H1b transfer. There are certain things that you have to do once your H1b has been transferred to a new employer. Number one is your visa stamping. Since you will change your employer, you will get a new I-767 notice of approval, and as well as your dependent will get the same notice of approval. So once you leave this country, once you go out of United States, you have to go to US Embassy, apply for a new visa and get it stamped. Make sure you keep that thing in mind and plan your visit accordingly. Next, I will spend minute half on a very important thing that you must avoid. As you know, on H1b visa, you can maximum stay unemployed for 60 days. My recommendation here is do not use the 60 day of unemployment time here in between the H1b visa transfer. Join the next company the very next day, because this 60 days of unemployment is basically for any unfortunate event that might happen in future, such as layoffs, or people get fired also in US. That is very common. I hope that will not happen to you, but just in case, I'm just want to mention here. So for those unfortunate events, if you have the 60-day time period intact, you can use that to find a new job and move on in your life. But if you use that 60-day in between your visa transfers as a vacation time, you will lose time from that bucket, and in future, if something happens, you will be in trouble. So make sure that you don't use that 60-day time period in between transferring the jobs. Now let's talk about the blunderous mistake I mentioned earlier in the video. What was that? Many companies would ask you to join the job once the USCIS acknowledges that your H1b visa transfer package has been received. Never do that. Never ever do that. As I said earlier, your H1b visa can be denied. So if that happens to you, your new company by law cannot keep you employed, and you have already resigned your previous company. It means you will be doomed. Avoid to be in that situation. Please do not do that. That is the blunderous mistake I mentioned earlier that I have made in my career, but I was lucky I got through it. The best time to resign from your current job is when you get the I-767 notice of approval from USCIS. They will send you a hard copy. So only after you get the hard copy of the notice of approval that your H1b visa transfer has been successful, you only resign your current job. Before that, do not even think of resigning. I hope this information will help you, and you will not make the mistakes that I did in my career. That's all for this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next one.